Movie camera, welcome to the last act. Today, we dive into one of history's dustiest pages, where humanity's darkest side and nature's silent cry intertwine. The Chernobyl disaster. 3 o'clock, April 26, 1986. In the midst of an ordinary night, a catastrophic explosion reshaped history. This tragedy, caused by human error, destroyed not just a nuclear reactor but also thousands of lives and our collective future. An invisible, deadly enemy spread silently. Radiation. Unseen, untouchable, yet its effects would haunt generations. Today, we explore the events of that fateful night, stories of heroic sacrifices, hidden truths, and the deep scars the disaster left on humanity. Broken heart, lost lives. Abandoned cities. Nature rising from the ashes. This story is more than a disaster. It's a warning about our responsibility, the limits of our power, and our debt to nature. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and support us by liking this video. Open book, let's turn one of history's most tragic pages together. Globe showing Europe-Africa, the last act. A warning for those who forget. Clapperboard. On an April night in 1986, the residents of Pripyat, Ukraine, started their evening as if it were an ordinary day. They shopped during the day, spent time with their children in parks, and enjoyed dinner with their families. But this sense of normalcy shattered at 1:23 a.m. on April 26, 1986, marking the beginning of one of the greatest disasters in human history. During a safety test, Reactor 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded, initiating a catastrophe. This disaster not only caused physical destruction but also unleashed a massive radiation crisis that left an indelible mark on humanity. Alexander Okhomov and his brave team, working at the plant, displayed extraordinary heroism in their efforts to control the situation. They struggled to suppress panic, informed firefighters and other personnel, and tried to maintain composure. Yet, this bravery came at a high cost: their lives. Okhomov, unaware of the reactor core's rapid meltdown, initially reported, "Everything is under control." Within hours, the first severe symptoms of radiation sickness emerged, marking the onset of an irreversible tragedy. Under the cover of night, a massive flame rose from the reactor, releasing tons of radioactive material into the atmosphere. For workers, firefighters, and emergency teams, this became a deadly battle. Not against something they could see but against an invisible, silent enemy, radiation itself. Within hours of the explosion, radioactive clouds began spreading across Europe. The people of Pripyat were unaware of the scale and consequences of the unfolding disaster. Official statements aimed to control the narrative and calm the public, yet thousands unknowingly faced a deadly threat. Valentina Ivanovna, a resident of Pripyat, recalled that night. "I saw a blue light shining like a rainbow. For someone who didn't know what a reactor explosion looked like, it felt unimaginably immense. But by morning, the city seemed normal, even though I felt a deep fear. Something was not right." In the first days, residents observed orange and black clouds filling the sky. Children played in the streets, and people carried on with their daily routines. Behind this illusion of normalcy, radiation silently infiltrated their bodies, leaving irreversible harm. Many firefighters and plant workers succumbed to severe radiation burns and sickness within 48 hours. Witness Anatoly Dyatlov described, "The explosion was so loud, I instantly knew the reactor had completely shattered. But I couldn't tell anyone. I was solely focused on my duty. My colleagues were fighting the fire, thinking everything was under control, but inside, it was nothing like what we could see from outside." Chaos quickly spread as radioactive clouds blanketed Europe, fueling panic and uncertainty. Initial evacuation plans, meant to be temporary, turned into a massive exodus that uprooted thousands of lives. People left their homes with only a few belongings, unaware of the scale of the disaster. Radioactive rain fell silently, contaminating rivers, soil, and air. Hospitals overflowed with the sick, yet even health workers were unaware of the magnitude of the threat they faced. Radiation crept toward them, unseen but devastating. As years passed, the full extent of the disaster began to unfold. Radiation sickness affected not only those directly exposed but also nearby populations and future generations. Thousands of lives were forever altered, and the scars of this tragedy endured. Beyond physical consequences, psychological trauma, social disruption, and a rise in illnesses revealed that the disaster was only the beginning of suffering for the residents of Pripyat. Pripyat became not just a ghost town but a haunting reminder of humanity's mistakes. Survivors carried the weight of their losses, passing down stories to future generations. Children grew up hearing whispers of the tragedy, their imaginations turning these stories into nightmares. Radiation's damage was not just physical but also psychological and sociological, shaping lives in profound ways. Years after the disaster, an unexpected phenomenon was observed in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Nature began to reclaim its space. Wolves, deer, birds, and even rare species found a home in the absence of human activity. For scientists, this revival presented a complex picture. While some species adapted remarkably well, evidence of genetic mutations raised concerns about the long-term impact of radiation. Sergei Orlov, a researcher, remarked, "The wildlife here is both inspiring and terrifying. On one hand, you marvel at nature's resilience. On the other, you ponder the long-term effects of radiation on these creatures." The greatest lesson from Chernobyl is that the power of technology can surpass humanity's ability to control it. While nuclear energy offers undeniable benefits, its potential risks are catastrophic. This disaster reshaped energy policies, raised safety standards, and fueled ethical debates on nuclear power. Some countries shut down or postponed nuclear projects, while others improved safety measures without abandoning nuclear energy. Yet the specter of Chernobyl looms over every decision, serving as a reminder of what's at stake. The Chernobyl disaster remains one of humanity's most significant lessons. The explosion not only destroyed a reactor but forever changed thousands of lives. Today, the abandoned buildings of Pripyat, rusted playgrounds, and dust-covered toys stand as silent witnesses to this tragedy. Chernobyl is not just a disaster but a warning, an enduring reminder of the need for caution when wielding forces beyond our control. Its legacy persists, shaping humanity's path forward with a call for responsibility and vigilance. Decades after the disaster, the exclusion zone became a living paradox. While humans abandoned the area, wildlife began to flourish in unexpected ways. Once barren, the region now teems with wolves, bears, wild horses, and even endangered species, thriving in the absence of human activity. This resurgence became a symbol of nature's resilience and adaptability. However, it also raised critical questions. Scientists discovered signs of genetic mutations in some species, pointing to the enduring presence of radiation. Yet, other populations showed remarkable stability and growth, adapting to the harsh conditions over time. Biologist Sergei Orlov expressed both awe and concern. "What we are witnessing here is extraordinary. It's as though nature is reclaiming what humans have destroyed, but the long-term effects of radiation remain uncertain. These animals are living proof of nature's power, yet they also remind us of the damage we've caused." The contrast of thriving ecosystems amidst radioactive soil serves as both a beacon of hope and a cautionary tale. It underscores the delicate balance between human actions and the environment, highlighting how quickly nature can adapt when given the chance, but at a significant cost. The Chernobyl disaster was not confined to the borders of Ukraine. It had a ripple effect across the globe. Radioactive clouds traveled thousands of kilometers, impacting regions far from the plant. In Europe, milk supplies were contaminated, crops were destroyed, and water sources were poisoned. The fallout caused an increase in cancer rates and other health complications in distant populations. Governments worldwide were forced to re-evaluate their stance on nuclear energy. Some countries, like Germany, initiated plans to phase out nuclear power entirely. Others, including France and the United States, focused on enhancing safety protocols and building more resilient systems. Yet, debates about nuclear energy remain unresolved. While it is a significant source of clean energy, Chernobyl stands as a stark reminder of its potential dangers. The question lingers: is the risk worth the reward? Amidst the chaos of the disaster, there were countless acts of heroism and sacrifice. The liquidators, as they came to be known, were the firefighters, soldiers, scientists, and volunteers who risked their lives to contain the disaster. Many of them knowingly faced fatal doses of radiation to protect others. Among them was firefighter Vasily Ignatenko, whose story became emblematic of the human cost of the disaster. Ignatenko and his team were among the first responders to the fire at Reactor 4. Despite wearing minimal protective gear, they fought tirelessly to control the blaze, unaware of the lethal radiation surrounding them. Vasily succumbed to acute radiation syndrome just weeks later, leaving behind a grieving wife and an unborn child. Their sacrifices were not in vain. Their efforts prevented the disaster from escalating further, potentially saving millions of lives. Today, their bravery is commemorated through memorials, documentaries, and survivor testimonies, ensuring their stories are never forgotten. The lessons of Chernobyl have become a cornerstone for modern energy policy, scientific research, and disaster preparedness. It reshaped global perspectives on nuclear energy, emphasizing the importance of transparency, safety, and accountability. International organizations like the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, have implemented stricter safety standards to prevent similar catastrophes. Advances in reactor design and safety measures aim to minimize risks, yet the shadow of Chernobyl continues to influence public opinion. For many, Chernobyl is a symbol of what can happen when humanity overestimates its control over powerful forces. It reminds us of our collective responsibility to approach technology with humility and caution. The ruins of Pripyat stand as a stark monument to the fragility of human progress. Empty schools, decaying homes, and rusting Ferris wheels tell the story of lives interrupted, dreams shattered, and a world changed forever. Every abandoned building is a silent reminder of the cost of hubris and negligence. But amidst the ruins, there is also a call to action, a plea for humanity to remember and learn. Chernobyl is more than a historical event. It is a cautionary tale for generations to come. It warns us of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the consequences of prioritizing progress over safety. The story of Chernobyl does not end with the disaster. Its legacy continues to unfold in the lives of those affected, the landscapes that bear its scars, and the lessons it imparts to the world. As we move forward, Chernobyl challenges us to balance innovation with responsibility. It reminds us of the power of nature to heal, even in the face of human error, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. The Chernobyl disaster is not just a tragedy. It is a testament to the resilience of life, the cost of mistakes, and the urgent need to respect the forces we seek to harness. Let us remember Chernobyl, not as a relic of the past, but as a guide for the future, a reminder that our choices today will shape the world we leave for tomorrow.